on a holiday, you take your family on a holiday. It's harder work. Okay, it's much harder than you would much rather be at work than in the holiday, from running around to doing the hard work and under the sun and whatever else, trying to have a break. Which is, why are we doing that? Because we are emptying our mind. You go to the gym to relieve your stress. Okay? The gym is hard work. Pumping weights is hard work. Yet we do it, why? Because it takes our mind off the workplace. If we take our mind off the world altogether with this spiritual journey of wudu and salat, we would have no problems in terms of stress and anxiety and depression and all of these things. It would not be there, Salama. It would simply not be there. And we can utilize the time of wudu and salat for that. So I wanted us to practically look at what we do and what we should do. Yes, in the physical sense, wudu starts with perhaps the mustahab acts of washing rinsing the hands first, the mouth, the nose, all of this initial part. But the more important aspect is the dua that comes with it, which our dear Hajj mentioned. The dua, not just saying it verbally, but the heart should be there. Spiritually, this again, we're speaking of a spiritual journey. We're speaking of a break from the physical world. A break from our body and all the things that the body needs and requires and drags us towards. A break from all of that to focus on me. Focus on the nafs. And me, I'm not referring to the body again. It's difficult to detach, isn't it? Huh? It's an abstract. We have to try and isolate the two. My nafs is not my body. And focus on that in our spiritual journey of wudu and salat. In the month of Ramadan, it helps. I shared an example. In the month of Ramadan is a great example, in fact, during the day. Oftentimes, we get hungry, and what do we do then? We eat. Very natural. As soon as we're hungry, we eat. And we spend quite a bit of time of the day actually eating. In the month of Ramadan, before we come to the month of Ramadan, in normal times, you get up in the morning, and what's the average time that mu'mineen have their breakfast? 8 o'clock, 7, 6, 5, I don't know, 9, 10, huh? Okay? So let's say your breakfast is at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. If you don't have your breakfast by 12 o'clock, how do you feel? It's not easy. Huh? You're starving. I haven't had my breakfast yet. I know who you are remembering, some of you. So it's not easy. In the month of Ramadan, it's 12 o'clock, it's 1 o'clock, it's 2 o'clock, you don't feel as hungry. Why? Because your nafs that is in control, and especially for those who have gotten to that level, the nafs that is in control, we're not children anymore. Now we're in obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My nafs says I am not eating. And I'm not even thinking about the food. And therefore the body doesn't think about it. The body is in control of their nafs. The nafs is in control of their body. Unfortunately, in most of our lives, the body is in control. If we switch that, if we utilize the month of Ramadan and switch that, we can travel further towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We can travel in this spiritual journey. We can have the tazkiyah, inshallah. So we need to focus on the spirituality of our actions. In wudu, again, we can start our salat with wudu. I'm not talking about takbiratul ihram. I'm speaking of the journey that is the salat. It can start with wudu. That's why our urafa and ulama, they say the better your wudu is in terms of spiritual journey, the better your salat is. During the wudu, one should not be watching the TV show. During the wudu, one should not be checking messages and whatever on their phone. During the wudu, one should not be talking to others, family members or whatever. Unless something is urgent, detach. Imagine that you no longer are there. Physically, you're not there. You're somewhere else. Imagine you have departed. I died, the house is going on, everything is going on, but I'm not there. That kind of a journey of wudu. And this is why the dua of wudu reflects that. The dua of wudu, every part of it, and I don't have time to go through the whole thing, but every part of it reflects the spiritual journey. Starting with the washing of the hands, even seeing the water. Okay? Thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for it being tahur and not najis. Then, Allahumma ja'alni min at-tawwabina waj'alni min al-mutatahhirin. Make me amongst those who often return to you and those who are often purifying, mutatahhirin. Then comes to the washing of the face and make my face bright on a day that faces go pale, and do not make my face pale on a day that most faces go pale, in fact. Oh Allah, give me my book in my right. Do not give me my book in my left. All of it has to do, coming to the feet. Allahumma thabbit qadamaya. When you wipe your feet, think of that. Say it and think of it. That these feet are gonna have to walk on the sirat. Oh Allah, make them strong and steady on the sirat so I don't slip, wal-'ayadu billah, and fall into the hellfire. So this is a spiritual journey. With that kind of a journey, coming towards the salat, see that we have already completely changed. Yes, we need to be conscious of some of the rules of the wudu, doing it properly physically, but most significantly, the spiritual aspects of the wudu, where the mind is, where the heart is in the wudu. Coming towards the salat, wear something presentable. Libasul musalli. Wear something that you would want to go and meet someone important, someone respectable, someone that you hold in high esteem. Wear something that you like to present yourself with. You're going to meet with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Again, not a physical one, but our body is part of it. That's why wudu, see, in some religions they don't have all these rituals. They just have the connection. Talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After a while, that whole thing went away. There's no connection anymore. In Islam, we have the physical aspects to keep us in line. It's important. Because you keep forcing the body, and then the soul follows. Eventually, the soul becomes in control. So we do need to make the wudu, not just recite those dua of the wudu. Coming to salat, it is not a physical thing, but yes, we have to physically do it. We have to utter it, and then we can have our spiritual journey with it or through it. So the body comes, you prepare your body, you wear something, you wear perfume. It is recommended to wear perfume for the salah. And then you come. You stand up and you start your salat remembering that you are in a meeting. You have a meeting. Now the adhan and the iqama, all of these things are preparing ourselves for that spiritual journey. Then every aspect of the journey, you'll find that it is related to our journey of akhirah. It's not about dunya. All the salat. If we pray this kind of salat, imagine, you just think about it, and this is a reminder for all of us, including myself. Think about it. You've had so many problems, things are going wrong in your life, relationship-wise, economically, financially, whatever it is, things are horrible. And then you come and start this spiritual journey. And you start with the Takbiratul Ihram, imagining that you no longer are in this world. You have died. You're no longer in this world. Allahu Akbar, and you are standing in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what salat is. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says the qiyam in a hadith, he says that qiyam is standing before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not again in the physical sense, but that's what it is. We're standing in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then reciting the Fatiha, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The entire surah, in fact, is a journey. Communicating with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the way He taught us. تَأْدِيبُ الرَّبِّ لِلْعَبْدِ. He taught us how to talk to Him. You see, Surah Al-Fatiha is talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But who taught us that? It is Quran from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is the Creator who is teaching us how to talk to Him. First you start with praising Him and so on. Standing in His court. If you have that kind of a journey, realizing that I have departed. Physically I'm no longer here. Not even physically. To imagine it in this way, that I have departed this world. Then whatever we're going through, financial problems, responsibilities towards children, relationship, all of these things, would they matter? Would they matter anymore? They won't. And you know what will come to your mind if you try that? Try that kind of salat. Complete detachment and focus on that spiritual journey. Nothing to do with this world. I'm in a different world and I'm focused on my journey. If you try that kind of salat, what will come to your mind in salat and will give you the reassurance and the comfort is that all the things in the world are taken care of by who? That's when your fitrah will work. Our fitrah has it already. But we forget. Nature and people and the environment that we're in makes us forget what the fitrah knows. Our fitrah knows that it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who's in control. He is in control of it all. That we know already. But when we live the life and we have a disconnection, we think I am in control. I want to change everything. I want to better my circumstances. I want to do. Who is really doing it? Earlier, a question was asked about an ayah that we recited tonight. Whenever a good thing happened to them, they think this is from Allah. Whenever a bad thing, they think this is from you, referring to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قُلْ كُلٌّ مِّنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ. Everything is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever happens is from Him. Then the next ayah, no contradiction. The next ayah explains in details how it works. The first ayah says everything is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever happens is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. كُلٌّ مِّنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ. Then the next ayah explains, whatever good happens, if you see it being good, مَا أَصَابَكَ مِنْ حَسَنَةٍ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ. Good is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Good here is hasana. Hasana is godly good. Not what we consider good. Not if I have a castle, it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, kullu min indillah, but that castle might be a punishment for me, taking me to hellfire. Is that good? It's no longer good. If wealth is dragging me away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is it good? It is no longer good. What if an illness takes me to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Is it bad? It's not. It's actually good. So let's understand what good and bad here means. Good and bad is not ما أصابك من حسنة is godly good, divinely good, not what we think is good, not our assessment of good. You know, often they say it's all relative. There's some sophisticated people, you ask them, how are you? And they say, it's all relative. At least be grateful. Say good in terms of being grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, they are correct in a sense. But be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the good is the goodness that is taking us to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What about the sayyi'ah? وَمَا أَصَابَكَ مِن سَيِّئَةٍ فَمِن نَفْسِكَ. It is from your own. You chose, let's say, for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you wealth. Is wealth good or bad? Good? Who says good? Huh? Good or bad? It's relative. It could be good. Ahsant. You can. Okay. So on its own, you cannot classify it yet. If it takes me to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's good. If it takes me away, it's bad. Who decides which way it takes me? I decide. Yes? Either I give what is due in my wealth, or I am وَمَنْ يَبْخَلْ فَإِنَّمَا يَبْخَلُ. Whoever is stingy against himself. Okay? That is one. Another example. Somebody gets sick. Getting sick, good or bad? Huh? Let's not classify it yet. Huh? Relative so far. Now, if it takes me to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's good. If it takes me away, it's bad. Yes? Who decides which way it takes me? Who decides whether I'm going to be patient or impatient? Poverty, difficulties, many difficulties. Different people, some have it in a family issue, relationships, and in arham. Some have it in their status. Some may have it in terms of financial issues, some different difficulties. All of these things are bala. Bala is test. It's good or bad is determined by us. However, if it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so if I use it in the right way, ما أصابك من حسنة فمن الله وما أصابك من سيئة. If I realize that in the journey of salat, if my salat becomes a spiritual journey and detach completely from dunya and realize that it is not in my control. I have children, I'm using my own example. I have children I am responsible for. But ultimately, who is going to take care of them? I do my part, but should I stress and worry? No, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of them. A spiritual journey of salat will give me that comfort. And this is the real meaning of ala bi dhikrillah. Dhikrillah, one of the best is salat. وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةَ لِذِكْرِ. Salat is dhikrullah. Ala bi dhikrillahi tatma'innu al-qulub. With this kind of salat, yes, hearts will reach tranquility. Another condition which I mentioned about salat is libasul musalli. What we wear, which will help that spiritual journey, and it will be the last comment. It is important that we wear something tahir, pure, that is from pure money, not usurped, not someone else's, and covering, angelic, not exposing our body. Even when we go to ruku' and sujood, it doesn't expose our body parts. Some people, when they go to the sujood, some body parts are exposed. That's not libasul musalli. That's not acceptable. Okay? Ruku', sujood, throughout the salat, it should be completely covering, because we want to ascend above the body and be more of a spiritual journey and angelic being inshallah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us have the salat of khashi'een, the salat of those who are humble physically and spiritually. We ask Him to make us amongst those who listen to what's said and follow what's best. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على